Hi everybody, it's just Kim. How you doing today? It is Tuesday, I think. It's terrible, I don't know what day it is. That's what happens when you work from home. So I just wanted to come on live. My brother, who I've told you guys about a little bit before, is a professional photographer and has shot amazing photos of amazing artists. Back mostly like in the 70s and stuff. And hi, Lori. And anyway, he sends me all these really cool lights and things to do my little reels and my TikToks and my lives and things like that. And he's very, we're very different in that effect that he's very meticulous about how things are. And I'm like a seat, I fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal. So anyway, I've got all these lights, and then he just sent me this brand new microphone, and it's pink. No, it's not a sex toy. It's a microphone, but it doesn't hook to my phone. So I got to figure out exactly how to get it all hooked up to my computer so I can do lives from my computer. I'm not sure if I can do that or not, but I'm sure I can. I'll figure it out. But anyway, it's very cool. And so I thought today what I would do, I don't know why, but I thought, well, maybe I'd just tell you the story about my brother, because it took me almost 6 decades to find out that I had him as a brother. So the story's kind of long, and I'll probably ramble and I'll get sidetracked because that's just kind of my ADD going in. But about 7 years ago, my sister, who most of you see on my pictures and that kind of stuff, and she's my dearest, most bestest friend in the whole wide world, and we've been close forever. And she is 2.5 years younger than me. And so when I was little and Mom got pregnant with Carrie, it was just Mom and I, because my dad was in jail. And so when she got pregnant with Carrie, yeah, she was in jail. He was in jail when she got pregnant with Carrie. So there's 2 different dads, but that never mattered to us. We could give care less. We didn't even know that till much, much later in our lives. But anyway, so my dad was the kind of guy that was a horrible human being. So when he met my mom, I was back to when she was pregnant with Carrie, she always called Carrie our baby. So Carrie was always our baby. And I think that's why we're so close. I mean, I just love her to pieces. But anyway, so when my mom met my dad, she'd come, grew up in Utah her whole life, and was from Utah, if anyone knows where that is. And anyway, so Grandpa did the Jed Clampett thing. He was out on the farm because they had a whole bunch of acreage out there. And he shot, he used to complain about the oil in the water all the time. And come to find out, guess what? They were sitting on a mother load of oil. Sad part is, unlike the Beverly Hillbillies, where they got a buttload of money and moved to Beverly, Chevron Oil bought the oil rights, and they're still sitting on them. They say there's a huge amount of oil under that land, but unfortunately now my mom's gone, my grandparents are gone, who the oil rights belong to. They passed down to the kids, and the kids are, of course, in their 70s now, and that, I just don't know what's going to happen, because there is a ton of oil, but the environmentalists, they can't dig, they can't drill for it. So long story short, the oil's still sitting there. I could be rich, but I'm not, and I won't be. But anyway, so Mom moved to California with my grandparents after the oil thing, and she met my dad. And my dad was this huge, not huge, he wasn't a big guy, but he was very handsome, very charming, talked a really good story, was a really good liar. And he actually ended up in jail one time for impersonating Johnny Weissmuller, just so you know. I mean, he was just an attractive guy. He was buff and everything. Anyway, so he marries my mom, unbeknownst, in a Las Vegas wedding. Unbeknownst to my mom, he was still married to somebody else. Oh, I'm sorry, the dogs are fighting, so Zach's yelling. So unbeknownst to my mom, he was still married to another woman who at that time was pregnant, not with my brothers. But anyway, so we still don't know where that child is. So anyway, Mom he was a bigamist. So then Mom ended up divorcing him, but he got thrown into jail because he had started seeing another woman while he was still married to my mom. And that woman was leaving him and moving all her stuff. And he went over and shot her and the guy that was helping her move. Now, neither one of those two died, but they did get shot. He went to jail at San Quentin. And ironically, that woman and I are in contact now today, and she's in her 90s and she's wild and crazy. And honestly, I can see where the attraction was, because she's a bit of a wild thing. And so we're connected, and she won't talk about him though. She doesn't want to. It makes her cry. She gets very angry about it. So, but anyway, so he ended up in jail then. And then After he got out of jail there, he married 2, 3 other women. We're not really sure how many more women, but he'd already been married to other women before and had children with them before. So he ends up in Missouri with this one rich lady, and he, I don't know, tells his family. I'm not real clear on everything exactly. My brother knows everything. I don't, because I don't care. The man really means nothing to me, but it does mean something to me that I have my brothers. So anyway, so he goes to Missouri, and he gets drunk one night, and he goes in the police station and shoots a cop and shoots off his arm and ends up in prison in Missouri. Now, about 10, 11 years ago, I started looking for him because I knew I had a brother somewhere. So I kind of wondered where my brother was, you know. So, but my records, my name was Heineman at that time, which is what I call him Ripley, told my mother his name was, and that's how he married her. So my sister and I were both Heinemans, and he wasn't a Heineman. And so, but we didn't know that, and that's what I went by until my mom met Mike, who adopted me later on, and that's how my name got to be Kunis, and that's what I've always kept it as. So anyway, so he ends up in Missouri in jail, and I guess he gets sick in jail and all this kind of stuff, but he's got these wives and this trail of women. And so long story short, that was about 10, 11 years ago. I looked for my brother then, the one I knew of, because we actually went to the beach with them when Mom was going to court with the divorce and the shooting of the other gal. Anyway, Carol was the lady's name, and we went to the beach with them and stuff. I'm sorry if this is confusing. It's going to be confusing. But anyway, so so she ends up, so I actually knew him then. So back onto Missouri. So he's in Missouri. So I looked up my brother, who I thought the name of which was Heineman. And there was a Heineman with the same name in California who had died in a motorcycle accident. So I just kind of threw up my hands and said, okay, well, that's done. So I don't need to know anymore. So about 5.5 years ago, it's like 7 in the morning, my phone starts ringing off the hook. And I'm like, it's a Florida number. And at this time, I'm living in Idaho. So I'm looking at it going, Florida, it's going to be, you remember all those ones you pick it up and say, you've won a 3-day Bahama cruise. So I knew that's what it was. So I just kept hitting, off, 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 off. Finally, on about the 7th or 8th time that it rings, I pick up the phone and I'm like, hello? And the voice on the other end of the phone is this man. And he says, I think that we're related. Oh, and I got to go back to, like 7 years ago, Carrie had bought her and I, my sister had bought her and I a 23andMe test. So we had our DNA test done. So, because she wanted to see how much Danish we were, how much, that kind of stuff. So anyway, so that's why we did it. And anyway, so the other phone, the guy on the end of the phone goes, I think I'm your brother. And he can probably tell a little bit different. He remembers it, even though we were both there, everyone remembers things a little bit differently. But anyway, he says, I think I'm your brother, or we're related. I think I'm your brother. And I said to him, my exact words were, is he dead? Because I was not going to talk to anyone if my dad was alive, because he was just such a yuck. So anyway, so he said, yes, I believe he is. But I was the last key that he needed to confirm that Ripley was his dad. So during that time, somewhere in about a year before that, I had seen that there was another person with my brother's name that I was looking for in California. But anyway, so long story short, so we start talking. We talk for a couple hours on the phone. He exchanges some information, things that he knows, things that he's found out, and we just kind of put it together. And he decides to come see me, which was awesome. So he comes and sees me, and we've got a really great relationship. Like I said, now he's kind of, I don't know. He wants me to be famous, I think, which works for me. But anyway, so his mother, he was given up for adoption when he was a baby, and he grew up in Texas. And so he didn't know who his mother or his father were. And so through this journey he's been on, he has found both of his mother and his father, and they're both gone, deceased. So he doesn't know get to meet either one of them. But he has another brother and sister on his mother's side as well, and he's in contact with them. So it's been really interesting, this whole evolution of finding family through the 23andMe's and the Ancestries.com and that kind of stuff. So then afterward, when we got to talking and he came to see me, and we found out we had another brother who ironically was living in Idaho, but he was living in northern Idaho. And he was the brother I was looking for in California. But because my dad lied about his last name, I was looking on the wrong last name. That wasn't his last name. What's weird is both the boys, both my brothers, names are William. My dad's name was William. So anyway, and our brother in Idaho actually lived several years with our dad, which I guess was not a good experience at all, which I couldn't imagine it would be. Because he just was, I mean, he tried to beat my grandpa up. He stole a car from my grandpa. He was a thief. He was a liar. I was told a story from my brother that was in Idaho that's now in Kentucky, that he remembers him killing a guy. You know, the guy had no scruples whatsoever. He told my mom he couldn't have children, and he also told her that he was in World War II. William, who searches everything, the William who found me a few years ago, because the other one, the brother's name is not William. He doesn't go by William. So anyway, so he told my mom he was in World War II. And that he was one of the guys with the flag holding at the statue. He also had connections with gold mining, and I mean, he has pictures of him at a gold mine. It was probably at Knott's Berry Farm. You know, in the gold mine, remember the old gold mine in the 60s and 70s in Knott's Berry Farm? You know, who knows? He was just such a scammer. He was a handsome man. I never had seen him in my whole life until after I met William. And William, you know, and William found some pictures. I did finally get his records from Missouri, and so I got to see his mugshot and stuff, but I never saw anything else of him, and nor did I care to. When I was 14, I was going to run away and live with him because I was sure he was rich and he was looking for me, but obviously that wasn't the case because he really didn't care. Even from jail, he never asked about me or anything else. But anyway, that's how William and I connected, and since then it's been great. It's fun having two big brothers. My other brother has since moved this direction as well. William lives in Florida, and then the other, Craig, lives in Kentucky now, so from Idaho as well. So it's been interesting having two new brothers, both older than me. I believe William's 10 years older than me, and I believe that Craig is 6 years older than me, 5 or 6. Anyway. So it's kind of fun to have two brothers. So the 23andMe and all that kind of stuff, it's kind of interesting what it does for people, because it really is, you know, it is really connecting families. I'm sure it's messing with a lot of families too, because there's a lot of family secrets that are coming out. You know, people who thought they were their, you know, parent or whatever, and they're not, and they're fighting who their parents were, and they're fighting siblings around the world. And so, but it's been really interesting. It's been really fun, but William is always so supportive of me, and I appreciate it so much. And I hope if he watches this, he knows how much I do appreciate him. I know he gets frustrated with me sometimes because I don't always do exactly what I should do with the camera. Like I said, when you're a professional and you've got someone like me who flies by the seat of my pants all the time, it's a little bit, I'm sure it's aggravating for him. But it is who I am, and he accepts it, I guess. He's coming to see me next week. So, but he's got these lights that do like these siren things. So I'm going to play with those. So you guys are all going to be my victims. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, it's fun to have a brother. And like I said, I've got two brothers now. And I did have a sister too. She died in 2012 in Scotland from an aneurysm. Unfortunately, I never got to meet her. Although we do look quite a bit alike. I would say that. None of us really look a lot alike, but there are, you know, features that definitely, you know, say, yeah, you're family. But anyway, I just wanted to tell that story. I'm sorry I kind of rambled and got a little sidetracked and confused, but it all started with the 23andMe test for a Christmas gift from Carrie about 7 or 8 years ago. And again, after answering the phone with William, you know, he had lots more questions than I had. One thing my mom never did, my mom never talked about my dad, never talked about my dad at all. I never asked. I didn't care. I mean, I had a little full life, and I didn't need that. I had my grandpa if I needed a man in my life, and we lived with grandma and grandpa off and on. Like I said in a video before, we were poor and didn't know it, you know, but anyway, so it to me, when I got ugly at 14, that's a typical teenager thing, you know, is to get kind of ugly and sure that parent wanted you and your other parents just keeping you away from them. Even though my mom never tried to, she never said you can't see your dad. I never asked to see him. But thank God she did what she did, because I couldn't have imagined my life with him in it. That would have been absolutely horrific. And of course, he couldn't stay out of jail long enough. I don't know how he married 10 or 11 women, because he was in jail more than he was out of jail. I heard he was in jail here in Florida. What's kind of weird is this is where he's actually from, is Florida. And so I have a couple aunts and cousins and around here too. I haven't met any of them yet, but we have connected, some of us, on Facebook. I have cousins in Georgia, Alabama. I think. I don't know. Anyway, William knows all that. He's the family keeper. He knows I just don't do those things. But anyway, so it's been kind of interesting. Apparently my dad's buried here somewhere, but I'll never go see the grave, so it won't matter to me. But he did. He's got pictures of it. But it's been fun, and I love all the stuff he sends me, and one of these days I'm going to figure out how to work it all. Maybe I'll turn into a dance queen or something on TikTok. Who knows? I'll be TikTok famous. But anyway, you guys, I appreciate so much you listening to my ramblings about my family and my brother and how I got 2 new brothers and late in life, and how interesting that's kind of been. And so with that, like I said, I guess I have nephews. I have a couple nephews too from my brother in Kentucky, but I haven't met them yet either. We conversed a little bit online and stuff, but when they don't know you, they don't know you. So, but other than that, that's about all going on in my life today. A little update on Zach. He's having a pretty good day. So we'll see how that goes. You never know. If you hear, he started yelling a minute ago, but he's doing good now. But again, thank you guys for your support. I really do appreciate it. And I hope we'll see you again soon. Take care of yourself. Love y'all. Bye.